Hello everybody, and welcome. Welcome back to GRL Division 3, and it's round 13 for the French Grand Prix, the birthplace of modern Grand Prix racing, and the first one being held here over 100 years ago. But we are here for a sprint weekend. It's a 9-lap sprint after qualifying, followed by a 27-lap race. 50% we run here in the GRL, and we've got a good, interesting one for you today. I surely hope so. 15 corners here for the Le Castellet, the Paul Ricard circuit, whatever you want to call it. 15 corners, 9 to the right, 6 to the left, and 2 DRS zones. 5.842 kilometres or 3.63 miles, depending on what side of the pond you come from. Now, the French Grand Prix is a circuit. I say a circuit is a Grand Prix full of history, and hopefully some more will be made today. That is yet to be seen as we follow on with the first runner out this evening, and that is Bright in the Alfa Romeo. Let's set everything up that we like here as well. We like a good track map, and we like some lap data. That's what we enjoy here. And I hope you enjoy here as well. It's what I've gotten used to, and to be honest, I think it's the best way to do it. But if there's any improvements or things you'd like to see me change or do, let me know in the chat below, and I'm sure we can figure out something or other. I've just sort of gotten comfortable with the way I've been hosting it now, but I hope you are all enjoying it. Few new runners this time round, or is it just the one? It's Ollie77 in the Haas there. I think that's the first time he is joining us for this evening. A few drivers unable to make it, so we are down to 13, the final lot, but that should be enough to get some good on-track action today. I surely hope so. God, that cut over real quick. All of a sudden there, the noise of that engine. Here we go, Bright lining up, taking a very wide entry into the final corner, trying to get as much straight line speed as he can down the start-finish straight to maximise the time as he gets onto his flying lap. First time by. He's not going to be the first car on a flying lap as he let one go, but we will follow on with Bright. First car, as he was the first car, out onto the circuit. Now making his way through the first chicane there, and now down towards Hotel and Camp, and now he makes his way round, I'm going to call it Virage, and onto the Mistral straight. Oh, this is going to be entertaining trying to pronounce for these names this evening. Well done by the AlphaTauri there, letting by the Alfa Romeo. Going to be flat out down the straight. 2 long straights here. Well, actually, it's really 3 straights, but 2 huge ones and 1 down the start-finish straight as well. 2 DRS zones, as I said this evening, as Bright goes purple there in the middle sector. Now flat out through turn 10, Sine, and you've got to have all of the minerals to go through it at speed, and one of the trickiest corners I think on the F1 calendar, or previous F1 calendar, was that fabled turn 11. You can really chuck it in with some speed and hope that the aerodynamics take a hold and keep the car planted to the floor. If it does start to slip and slide, you will lose time. Through Village and through Virage du Lac. I'm going to call it Lac. Can't have 2 virages now, can we? And round the final turn. And what's his time going to be? First time round, it's a 1:29.2. We're already into the low 1:29s. That's a fantastic lap from Bright there. My predictive pole time was going to be a low 1:29, but actually, looking at it now, I wonder, can we get into the 1:28? That would be something, as Wheat sets a 1:30.6. We'll follow on board here with Al, your previous winner last time out at the Portuguese circuit, Algarve. And I think it was his maiden drive and maiden win. So he got the double, or first time out. But earlier on this evening, he has said this is his first time around this circuit. Says he has not driven it on this game. So is that going to be a hindrance to him this evening? Is he going to have the know-how of how the track is driven on the F1 23? He may have driven it before, but that doesn't mean it's exactly the same this time by. The car's slightly different, the track could be also slightly different as well. But what's his first time run going to be? It's looking pretty quick. It's a 1:29.8. He still sits in 4th, as Lawn sets a very valid 1:29.3 in that Mercedes. That's a good lap from him there. And his teammate Maka, 1:29.4 as well. That's also very respectable. As I say, those low 1:29s, if you're in that sort of range, you're in a good position here. And you're a good chance to finish up the grid. It's very easy to bleed time out around this circuit, as lots of traction zones and lots of tricky corners, but also lots of straights. You have to be very compromised on the aero package. You really have to balance it, and it's a very large challenge, especially on a one-lap pace as well, let alone race pace. It's really tricky to get that one-lap pace and to get it exactly how you want it, as we now ride on board with the Williams of Hayes. I think we called him Purple Haze last time. We'll just call him Hayes. Do you know what? We'll call him Hayes. Keep it short, sweet and simple, shall we? He's set a 1:30.4 respectively. Is he on another flying run is the question, or is this a cool down lap? As I think we've already gone through the sector 2. I missed it. I didn't quite see what had gone on. It doesn't look as though it's a real push lap, but it doesn't look as though it's too slow either. But oh, he's gone off the circuit there. That'll definitely be an invalidation, as yeah, it looks as though he may have even backed off. Apologies for the notifications. I do apologise. As Boosted has retired. What's happened there? What's gone on? It looks... Has he spun? Has he crashed? We have a yellow sector in Sector 3, and that looks to be the colour of an AlphaTauri. So is Boosted RB's qualifying already over? Nope, it's not an AlphaTauri. It's moving once again. Is that an Aston Martin going slowly? It is. It's an Aston Martin going slowly. So what has happened to Boosted RB? That remains to be seen. Should we try and find some information on it? Ah, Boosted has a quali ban. Thank you very much. That is good information, good news to have. That makes sense now. Thank you for that. There we are. You heard it here. Boosted has a qualified ban, hence why he's retired. That makes all the sense now. God, I should really pay attention to the penalties coming into these things, shouldn't I? You'd think I would, but apparently I don't. So, we'll ride on board then with Busak, as he just is finishing his outlap and goes straight onto a flying lap. Let's follow and ride on board of him, shall we? Down towards T1. Very tricky corner to get right. Late on the brakes as you dare. And you've got to make sure you line up turn 2 right there. Get the traction on the exit. Run it out as wide as you can to get the speed as well. Making your way now down to turn 3 and turn 4 through Hotel. And around turn 4 there into... I've forgotten the name of it. Doesn't matter. Going round turn 5 and turn 6. Making our way onto the Mistral straight towards the chicane, currently seated in the middle. It's the chicane Nord. I'm going to call it the Nord chicane. It sounds a lot better like that, doesn't it? You're flat out down here again, brave on the brakes into this quick left-right hander of a chicane. You do drop it down to 4th and then 3rd gear, but it still feels lightning fast. And then you're back on the power, up to full throttle and maximum gears, and through the fabled turn 10. Flat out right-hander here, or it should be flat out, as it looks as though he might have backed off. Now through turn 11. Yeah, he's absolutely backed off here. Never mind, he's not happy at that lap. Or maybe invalidated, as he now goes entirely off the circuit. What is going on here? Oh, wow. Well, whatever's gone on there, he wasn't happy with it. Actually, should we ride back on board? Does he go around once again, or does he... He peels in. He peels in late, but he peels in nonetheless. Alrighty then, we'll ride on board then with Marcelo. He is on a flying run, and he looks as though he is still going at full speed. Breakneck speed through Village, Lac, and now into the final corner. And he's now on the start-finish straight. DRS wide open at the back there. That little flap lifting up gives you a boost of speed. And it's a 129.8. That puts Marcelo up into 7th place. Apologies for the break there. Now, who do we have out on the circuit? Should we follow on board with Maka? Maka could be on here for a potential pole. He's definitely within the time frame. Look at that. What an absolute view that is. That's amazing. That turn 11, that was a fantastic view. What a brilliant camera shot right there. Love that. Through Village now. Is he on a flying lap? He's on an outlap, isn't he? He's on his outlap. He's building up to the full thing. Here we go. Through the second to last corner. Now he's going to take a wide entry. Or is he not? He didn't. He's taken it as a normal entry. We'll ride on board with him then for this lap. Maka 717 in the Mercedes, looking to go for pole and looking to hopefully get a little bit of a comeback in this championship. Decided what on earth? What on earth happened there? Who was that coming out of the pits? Was that Busak? He was not watching his mirrors, was he? That was dangerous. My word. And if that is not going to be a qualifying ban for next time out, I don't know what will be. But he's absolutely ruined Maka's qualifying. Well, that lap anyway. Not qualifying itself, but he absolutely destroyed the lap there. Before it even got underway. We hadn't even got down to T1. Question will be, will he build up for another lap or will he come back in? I think the sensible decision for Maka is to come back in, put on another fresh set of softs and build up and go again. But my word, that was dangerous from Busak. And that will absolutely be a penalty coming his way. But penalties aside, stewards' decisions aside, we ride on board with Hayes in the Williams once again. And he's currently on a flying lap. How's he looking going into... About to finish Sector 2. Through the Nord chicane here, down the middle of the back straight. Looks as though we got it quite neat and tidy there, so that's good work from him. Now, out of Sector 2, is he up? He is up. 2 tenths up on his previous lap time from before. That'll bring him up above his teammate of Wheat in the sister Williams there. But as he got more time to find, as he makes his way through the tricky turn 11, it's a very late apex of that corner. And is he going to get caught up in a little bit of traffic? Hopefully the McLaren will move out the way nicely. And it looks as though he absolutely has done as well. Well done there from Nolan in the McLaren. Currently yet to set a lap. Now, through the second to last corner. And never mind, he's made his way into the pits. Are we going to ride on board with anybody that will set a lap? Your current provisional pole position sitter is Bright. He's still, from his original time set, still on the top step as it stands. We'll ride on board with Nolan then in this McLaren. Making his way through the first chicane there of turn 1 and turn 2, and now making his way down towards Hotel of T3 and 4. It's looking pretty neat and tidy so far, but neat and tidy doesn't always mean quick, but neat and tidy does mean he is going to set a lap, and that is always a good sign and a good start. But he's left it very late though, hasn't he? It's only 5 minutes remaining now in qualifying. And he's yet to set a lap time, so is he going to leave it all up to one flying run? That is the question. Now into the Nord chicane. Quick left, quick snap of the steering wheel, drop it down a gear for the right-hander of it, and then maximise your exit and flat out down towards turn 10 and turn 11. Just listening on board there for a moment. Yeah, he's flat to the floor as everyone should be. He's almost flat through turn 11. Whoa, that was late on the brakes. That was impressive, and he's lost it. There he goes round. I told you could do it, and it was easy to do. Oh, he's gone round again. Oh, we'll put him out of his misery. Oh dear, that's not the lap that Nolan was looking for. As Bright looks to improve his lap time. Has he done it? Yes, he has. A 1:28.9. We've now dipped our way into the 1:28s. I thought a 1:29, a low 1:29 was going to be the pole time, but Bright has absolutely mashed that, and he's dipped into the 1:28s now. That's a fantastic time for me. He's a good few tenths clear as Pikachu has now joined into the lobby for Alpine. What can he do this evening? Can he get a lap in before... No, he can't, because he's left again. Never mind. Because he's always quite quick. Old Pikachu's doing fairly well in the drivers. I think the lack of attendance is what's really held him back. But, nonetheless, here we are. We'll follow on board with Ollie for his flying run now. First time out for Ollie 77. It's his debut race. The old French Grand Prix here for round 13. It is unlucky for some, but hopefully for Ollie, it'll be quite lucky for him. As it didn't look as though he was going flat out then. I wonder if he was. We'll find out as he makes his way into the first sector. Is he up? No, he's down. 4.2 seconds down. It didn't look as though he was going for it. I wonder what was going on there. No, he has not been going for it. As Pikachu joins back in. So hopefully, has he got enough time? He might just about do it if he gets in, set up on, go. And he absolutely could. As that's Al making his way onto his outlap. Who do we have currently on a flying run? Micello making his way into the pits. Ollie we know is not on a run. Everybody else is on an outlap or they are in the pits. So we just wait now for people to start their final flying runs. I'd imagine we're getting into that territory. If we're not, I'd be very surprised. Whilst we wait to find somebody on a flying run, I'll give you a quick fact. Here we go. This is one. So, French Grand Prix, what is he doing? I look down, I look up for a moment, he's almost lost it on a straight. That's not what you want to be doing, is it, in the Aston Martin, or even in F1? I know he's trying to warm his tyres, but there's warming them, and then there's this. This is extreme. As Bright has retired, he's confident then that no one's going to beat his provisional pole time. And this is now where it is all to play for. Everybody now jumping onto their outlap, and I will quickly now give you that fact before I forget it and forget to give it to you. French Grand Prix, world oldest Grand Prix, held here on June 26th, 1906, near Sarthe, in Sarthe, near where the modern day Le Mans is held. And the winner, do you know what the winner got on that evening or day? He got 13 kilograms of gold. And once you adjust for inflation, it's around about 200,000, I think it was dollars, I think it gave just over $200,000. That's an insane amount of money for a win, isn't it? I mean, I say that, F1 drivers now get millions in a year, so it's probably, you know, nothing to them. But back then, God, could you imagine the amount of money you earned from that? And I don't know what Al is doing here as we ride on board again, but he's letting them pass safely, so that's something. But it's just a little bit odd, isn't it? As I noticed Ollie did retire. He really needs to get going now. He's got cars behind him. He needs to have a gap. And yeah, rather odd warm-up there from Al, but he's not done anything, I guess, illegal. He's not hindered anybody, which is good. So he's now on his flying lap, his final flying run here at Le Castel at Paul Ricard, or is it Paul Ricard at Le Castel? I can't quite remember which way round it is. It's one way round, it doesn't matter which way round. The point is it's the French Grand Prix and we're in qualifying, the checkered flag will be waving in just 1 second. Checkered flag is out. Micello's finished, that's a 1:29.8 as Hayes is now finished a 1:29.9, so they're 7th and 8th respectively, but that's not quite where they want to be, as we still follow on board here with Al for his final flying run up to the Nord chicane. Quick left right-hander, quicker than you might think, and you want to use all the exit curb as well, as much as you dare, without bottoming out or going over the track limits, as Al is a little bit up on his lap time, but it doesn't look as though it's going to be enough to challenge pole position, as Boussac finishes qualifying a 1:29.7. That currently puts him P6, as Ollie is safe from him as well. So P5 currently for Ollie 77 in the Haas. This could be a pretty good run, first time out for the Scot, as it looks as though Nolan is actually going to finally set a lap as well, potentially. Final corner though for Al in the Aston Martin. Where's this going to put him? As he now runs it up to the line, it's going to be a 1:29.7. That's 6. Just knocks Boussac down once again, but that's P6 for Al. As we quickly now ride on board with Macca through Village into the penultimate corner of Lucknow, before we find our way crossing the final line. Never mind, he's coming to the pits. But Kyuza, I can't do that. Kyuxura, I don't know. As Pikachu sticks it in P4 with a one-lap wonder. That's a fantastic time from him there. There is your rundown then. And Nolan's gone 7th. That slipped under my radar. Nolan in the McLaren has gone P7 as well, and Ollie's finished here at P6 for qualifying. That's a good qualifying first time out for that man in the Haas car. And Pikachu jumps in and just sticks it straight into P4, and he's within a couple of tenths off pole position. That is a fantastic time. That's very Sebastian Vettel-esque, isn't it, at Singapore? Not quite the pole, but just one run, that's all he needs. He can stick it in a good position for the race. And, yeah, happy days for him. Well done. There's your rundown then. Bright retired early and knew his pole position was safe, and it absolutely was. So well done. Pole position for Bright this week at the French Grand Prix. Kira, I can't do that. Kazura. In the Red Bull P2, ROM Lawn, great qualifying there for him in the Mercedes. He takes P3. Pikachu there takes P4 for the Alpine, and Mercedes 3 and 5 this week. Maka P5. P6, first time out, first qualifying session for Ollie 77 in the Haas, takes P6. Nolan P7, Al P8, Busak 9, Wheat 10. That's your top 10 rundown. And then you've got Micello, Hayes, Boosted RB with a qualifying ban, and I believe Dom in the other Haas also had a qualifying ban as well this evening. There you are, your top 14. Bright is absolutely cooking, absolutely. Didn't even need the final run. He was that confident. Just went, you know what? I don't need the final run. I know I've got pole. I'm going to retire the car. Save a set of tyres. Because he did not need the extra one. Fair play to him as well. Right, while we just wait for everyone to ready up. Ready up is in 2 minutes time at 8:30 for the sprint weekend. For the sprint, first of all. So, I haven't got strategies for the sprint. Quite obviously, you don't need a strategy. Pick a tyre and hope you get to the end on it with enough tread and speed. Oh dear, uncookie. Yeah, no, you know what? Fair play, mate. You've done well. And you're not out of it, you know. You've got a sprint and then you've got a race. So who knows what could happen for you in those two. But yeah, pit strategy, there ain't one. You pick a tyre. So it's either going to be the soft or the medium. I would imagine the medium's going to be the favourite here for the sprint. It's 9 laps is the sprint. And I know the softs can do 11 when you look at it. When I looked at it earlier to get my pit strategy for the race. But you will start losing a lot of grip in those last few laps. But hopefully you would have made the advantage up in the earlier laps when you had more grip than potentially those around you. But who knows? We'll see what people go for in just a few short moments' time. First race held here at Paul Ricard was in 1971, and it's held it, I believe, on about 17 different occasions before it was, on and off as well. The French Grand Prix. It's been a very weird history, the French Grand Prix, but the most French Grand Prix have been held at the purpose-built circuit of Manicourt from 1991 to 2008. It held the race 18 times before we had a 10-year hiatus, and it came back to us in 2018. And, it seems to have disappeared again, unfortunately. So there isn't a French Grand Prix this year, and I'm not even sure it's on the calendar for the next few years either. So it's a bit sad, as, we've got 2 French drivers on the grid in real life. You've got a French team in Alpine. So we hope to maybe see it back again. I'd love to see it be held at Manicourt once again. That would be fantastic to see us race back there. But nonetheless, we don't have it currently. As here we are then. The lights are on. There's 4 of them. There's 5. And they're now out. And away they go. Who gets a good start? Bright looks as though he got it pretty much covered as Pikachu gets a fantastic start. Makes his way up into P3 off the starting line as Bright does have it, the inside line covered. Well done to him. Fantastic start as Kazura, I will get there. It looks as though he could be underfit from Pikachu. We're going to look a little bit further down the field as these are where they've backed up a little bit. As Ollie has a really good start as well. He's made up a couple of positions up into P4 from him. Got past both the Mercedes there. And past Maka and Lawn. Lawn not having the best of getaways. He finds himself now down into P5 as that's been an awful start for Nolan. Has anything happened to him there, I wonder? He's down all the way in P14. That's not what he wanted this weekend. Dom's found his way up into P10. That's a good start for him as well. As I say, yes, there we go. That's what we should check, absolutely. Which tyre are people on? There we go. Actually, we got a bit of a mix. That explains the good start from Pikachu there. Makes his way up into P3. Now, can he make the most of those tyres? tyres before they start to dip off and the medium becomes the favoured compound to be on. Looks as though Dom's going to try and go up the inside of Micello through turn 11. That's a fantastic move. He runs it a little bit wide. That opens the door back for Micello, but Dom will now have the inside line. Is he going to run him out of space? He does a little bit there. I think that's a bit cheeky of him. Micello definitely had enough of the car alongside. But luckily this track does have a lot of runoff, so I don't think there'll be any penalisation for that, as both cars still facing forward and still running forward, so that's always good to see, as Dom looks as though he got the place and has now maintained it as well. Good start from him by the looks of it. He's definitely made a few positions up on that opening lap, as we wait anxiously for the DRS, because that is where things are going to get a lot more spicy, as currently right now it's down to skill and experience, shall we say, in terms of your racecraft and how you're doing, as it looks as though Al is struggling just a little bit here at the start of this Grand Prix. He's completely under threat from Hayes behind, who's also on the slightly softer tyre. It looks as though he's definitely going to get the move now down into the North chicane. Williams goes up the inside, could be followed potentially by the Alpha Tauri of Boosted and potentially the McLaren of Nolan, as there goes a little bit of, yeah, he's lost his front wing. He's lost the front wing. What am I talking about? He's lost an end plate, Al has. So, that's, oh my God, what is going on here? They're going to go 3 wide into T10, aren't they? No, they're not. That would be absolutely suicidal for them to do that. I'm not too sure what Al is up to, though. He's down on grip here at the front of his car. I think he's just going to have to let them go. You can fight another day. It's not the main race. You can come back for the main race, as things have not gone well for Al. He now finds himself down in last place, P14, unfortunately. I believe it's top 8 do get points here for the sprint. I think they kept that like normal F1, but in the race, top 15 get points. So all you have to do is finish the race. As Nolan now looking to go for a move potentially into T1, but I think Boosted has backed out of it. As what has happened here? What have we missed? 3-second time penalty for Dom there, as it looks as though Boussac and I think it was the Williams of Wheat got caught up in that as well, as Nolan's now going to go round the outside of Boosted through turn 4 into turn 5. That looked like it was a good move, and I'm really upset I missed it, if I'm being completely honest. Boussac now picks up a time penalty. Has he got damage on the car? Yeah, he's missing an end plate. It's completely gone off the front there, isn't it? Right, DRS now activated for some, as Boosted now gets the move back done on Nolan. Yeah, he does. He got it done, as Ollie's picked up a penalty. Everything's happening all within the space of a couple of corners. I can't keep up with it all. I need someone to help me with this. I need someone else keeping an eye on things so I don't get completely lost with what's going on by myself. Dear, but it's not looking bad for Ollie here. I wouldn't count him out of this, you know. He's just off this front pack with the leaders. He's on the, I would say, favoured tyre. Yes, he's got a penalty, but if he could just stick with this front pack and pull away from the guys behind, bring that 3-second gap up, you know, he could potentially finish this in P4 and start P4 for the race. So I wouldn't count him out. And to be honest, first time by for Ollie here in the Haas. I'd say he's doing very well for a first race here for the GRL. So fair play, hats off to him, as I did completely miss there the pass for the lead. I don't know how I've missed that, but we got Kazura now in P1, followed by Bright, but DRS is now going to be open for the guys behind. Has Kazura got the pace to keep them behind? That's going to be the ultimate question. Here we go, we'll follow riding on board. DRS, now the gap's going to be closing all of the time. Goes defensive, almost snaps back a little bit there, as we've had the McLaren there of Nolan. Looks as though he's into the wall, and that has brought about the safety car. Now this does play into the hands of the soft runners. They don't have to push as hard on their tyres. They can make them last a lot longer, and they're going to have the quicker, softer rubber as well. And they'll definitely get to the end. They would have got to the end regardless, but they're going to have the better compounder tyre to be on, the quicker compounder tyre to be on, and they're not going to have to push for as long during this short sprint race. You've seen about 7 corner cuts already, have you? Jesus. I mean, if you want to report them, that's up to you. It won't be my job to do that. I'm just here looking at the entertainment and providing it, hopefully, as well. But this does bring Al back into this. You know, all he has to do, pit for a new set of tyres and get that front wing changed. And he's right on the back of the grid here. Fresh rubber, faster rubber as well. And he can get back into this. So that's good news for him. And unfortunate news for Nolan and Boussac, who have retired from this sprint race. Nolan into the wall, and I think Boussac retired due to just feeling he wasn't going to get anywhere with it. But he didn't account for this, a safety car. This would have brought him way back into this race. But unfortunately, he's already decided that enough was enough. 12 current runners now for this sprint weekend, as quite a lot of guys there. Is it from 7th down? It looks as though, yeah, from 7th down, Dom there, downwards, have all pitted in for new softs. Oh, it's got to be softs for all of them, hasn't it? If it's not, I'll be very worried. Yeah, soft tyre, soft tyre, soft tyre, soft tyre, soft tyre. Now, this will get dicey, I can tell you, before we even get going underway. Yeah, I can agree on that. The track limits are quite deadly here. It is doable, but it is tricky. So, yeah, I will agree with you. It's not the easiest, but, you know, if you want to be at the front and you want to be winning, ideally you don't want to be cutting the track or running it wide. Because, yes, you will get those limitations, those violations, and they will stack up against you as well. But we now, lap 5... under safety car. I'd imagine it's going to be one more lap under the safety car, so we'll get going at the end of lap 6, and that'll give us a 2-lap sprint, sorry, a 3-lap sprint to the end of the Grand Prix, or to the end of the sprint race at least. It's not the Grand Prix. Grand Prix next time out! And that's where the real points will be dished out as well. You do obviously earn points here for the sprint, not as many as the Grand Prix itself, but points nonetheless, and points will always help you in a championship. So if you're in that top 8, you'll be earning some points, and that's obviously what you want. No point for the fastest lap though here at the sprint. That is just saved for the Grand Prix. But if you get the fastest lap inside the top 10, you will earn that extra point. But everyone's now caught up to the back of the safety car, so that is good news, as that does mean we will get going next time by at the end of lap 6. So we've got one more lap now under safety car. I've said Grand Prix a lot. I've realised I've said Grand Prix a lot. Don't know why, but there we go. And I'll tell you what, I'll give you a fact about Grand Prix. Grand Prix comes from the French word meaning grand prize. So, there we go. If you didn't know, now you do. As I say, a lot of history with the French Grand Prix. Oldest modern Grand Prix to exist. Gives us the word for Grand Prix as well. So, yeah, lots of firsts for France. And I'll give you another first here. The first time a French manufacturer won the French Grand Prix was in 1906. They won the first one, and that was for Renault. And then they had to wait another 73 years before they got their second victory in 1979. God, that is a big gap. If you think Lewis Hamilton's going through a drought, you have not seen Renault from the year 1906 to 1979. They would have won races in between, but they never won the French Grand Prix in between. That was reserved for a 79-year hiatus. Jeez. Right, I'll shut up with my facts now. We'll get focused back in on the actual racing itself, shall we? Who have we got on what tyre now? That's going to be interesting. We've got from 7 downwards have done stops, and that means the top 6 have not stopped. So, are they all going to become under threat, or have they got enough pace in hand with the extended tyre wear that they will have to keep going? A lot of the front runners on the mediums, except for Pikachu, they're currently sitting P3. So watch out for him. He could be under threat here from cars behind. Oh, that's I'll get it back to who is the big winner here. Dom is definitely a big winner here in the sprint so far, but he has got a penalty, and I don't know if 2 laps is going to be enough time to undo the damage of that penalty. And it's the same for Ollie as well. He's only got 3 laps, I do apologise, as I'd imagine Kazura has already gone, out of the final corner. Yeah, he absolutely has. That could put him under threat though from Bright behind, but I think he's definitely got the legs. DRS will not be in operation until I believe the end of next lap, so we're only going to get 1 lap left now with DRS enabled overtake. So this is all about skill now. This is all about racecraft from here on to the end of the Grand Prix, really and truthfully. As we ride on board with Ollie in his first sprint here in the GRL. As I say, comfortably 4th at the moment, but with that safety car bunching everybody up together, it does mean now that everyone could become under threat from the car behind. Al looks as though he's getting pretty feisty there at the back. He'll be looking to make moves and capitalise on the fortune of that safety car, as otherwise he was going to be down and out for this race for sure. But no moves as of yet currently, as that looks to be a move in the background there. The Haas of Dom potentially looking to go around the Mercedes of Maka. He sits tucked right into the slipstream. It's going to be a flat-out right-hander now of turn 10. Can he get the move done down into the braking zone of T11? He looks to go up the inside, potentially going to go up the inside as well. I think he might have done it. He did this move once before, not too long ago. And now he swoops around the outside of Village there. That is a fantastic move from Dom. Moves his way up into P6, putting those brand new fresh softs to good use over the slightly older rubber of the mediums of Maka. He now looks eyes forward, firmly locked onto the next Mercedes. I think he's already got it done into the final corner. He absolutely has. What a move there from Dom. He's now got his teammate in front of him. Both Mercedes dispatched before the end of 1 lap of green. What a fantastic move from Dom there. As I say, eyes firmly forward. He's the front runner of these the guys who stopped under the safety car, and he's definitely putting that fresh tyre to use as well. He's now all over the back of his teammate, and potentially of Pikachu up ahead as well. Pikachu now actually dropped out of the second window of the 2 guys in front, as Kazura has almost pulled out a second on Bright in the Alfa Romeo behind. As Ollie now in the other house looks as though he's going to try and make a move on Pikachu, and so he's following through Dom. Is there enough space to do that though? No contact was made, so that is good news. But as we've now got a yellow, what has happened in the background, I wonder. I'm not going to worry too much about it, as Pikachu now looking to go up the inside of Ollie. Have they all made it through the corner? Yes, they have so far. Dom now up into P4. And Pikachu regains P3 just for a moment, but I think Dom's going to snatch that up within an instant. Definitely is. That fresher rubber coming into play now. That's for sure. Micello making moves. He's up into P5 on the fresh set of softs as well. Ollie, unfortunately, now down into P6 after all of that. This is some fantastic moves and racing. I don't think it's going to be enough for Dom to catch up to the lead too, as Bright's brought that gap down a little bit now. As yeah, here we are, DRS for the 1 lap and the 1 lap only. And it's the final lap of this sprint. We ride on board here with Maka in this little train. There was a little lock up there from, I think, Hayes in the Williams. But he got it all under control, and that's not going to be a problem for him. Ollie's light flashing on the back there. That signals he's got no energy left to deploy out of that car. He's used it all, and he could be a sitting duck from the 2 behind. Hayes in the Williams, Maka in that Mercedes, as Maka gets a little bit squirrely as Hayes is looking to go round the outside. Maka does, the corner tends to lend itself to going wide there, as just realising at the back there, Al struggling to get past, but now the light is flashing on Maka's car. Are we going to see a move from Hayes on Maka? He's gone to the inside, but he's now going to have the outside line. I wonder, Dom now picking up another 3-second time penalty. That actually doesn't surprise me that much, but that's definitely going to drop him now towards the back of the grid. As Hayes now has made his way past Maka in that Mercedes. Is he going to look for a move up the inside of Ollie before the lap is over? As Bright has now picked up a 3-second time penalty. That is not what he needed. As it looks as though Micello has gone up the inside of T11 and round the outside of T12. Great move there from Micello. And Pikachu now has to drop back down into P5, but I think come the end of this race that could potentially be P4, maybe even P3, depending on how big of a gap there is. So there they are, crossing the line now. Yeah, absolutely. Micello makes his way P3, P4 for Pikachu. That's not bad from him there. Bright just barely holding on to his P2. God, that was close. And that was some thrilling racing in those last couple of laps. I'm sorry it couldn't go on for longer. But we have your finish. Driver of the day goes to Dom. Not well for the moves he was making. Absolutely. For the the keeping it within the track limits, I don't think so. He's going to be starting the Grand Prix next out in P7 though. From the back of the grid, I wouldn't say that's a bad result for him there. So well done, Ollie. 8. Boosted 9. Right, we'll go from top to bottom, shall we, rather than from the middle. Kazura, Red Bull, P1 for the sprint. Well done to him. Bright, unfortunately, just having to settle for P2, but he's got the Grand Prix for it all to play for. Misello makes a magnificent recovery, P3. Pikachu, well done, P4 for him. Hayes, P5. That's a good drive as well from him in the Williams. Maka, 6. Dom, pretty good there for 7 in the end. Ollie unfortunately slipping down the grid a little bit. He starts P8 next time by. Boosted 9. Al does eventually get past a couple of cars at the end there. He starts P10 for the race. Lawn, terrible start for him now. He's P12. And then Nolan and Busak unfortunately unable to finish the sprint race. And they will start P13, P14 at the back. As we've now got... It looks as though, I think that was a 5-minute wait now until we get going for the Grand Prix. I'm just going to take a quick break myself so that I can have a drink. I'll be back in just a moment. Hello, we are back. We're not quite back under racing just yet. We've got a couple more minutes before we do so. I found out today, right? I found out Paul Ricard has 167 different track configurations. And I think deep down I kind of knew that, but I got it all confirmed because I did look it up. And they range from a circuit from 0.8 kilometres to 5.5 kilometres long, depending on what layout you want to go with. I thought it was absolutely fascinating. Although the longest configuration is for the Grand Prix of 5.842 kilometres long. There's 3 minutes left until we get going once again, and I'm wondering, is the sprint race there a little bit of a prelude to what could come into the in the full Grand Prix? I wonder, as it could be that the race is decided very much after the checkered flag has fallen. If you're not watching those track limits, potentially penalties could be rife this evening, and I wonder, is that going to settle how this plays out and what happens here as well? But that's all to come, and we'll get going in just a few short moments' time. Just having a little read of the chat here. What's going on? As reading through the chat real quick. Looks as though could be getting some decisions made about the sprint weekend, let alone the actual Grand Prix itself. It looks as though some people are a little heaved about the actual racing. Regardless, whatever is being said by the drivers, we're about to get going in just a moment. I already said that, but we'll say it again anyway. It really is just a moment now. We're just waiting for that clock to tick over by one more minute, and then the drivers will be readying up and preparing, getting in their head spaces now, preparing, get their breathing right. I know I have to, otherwise my heart rate gets too high and I start to panic. Oh, it's amazing. It's just a game, but it really does get in your head sometimes. You really want to be the best and be out in front, but like a real life sport, you have to get in the right headspace, and you have to. I find that good breathing technique actually does help, making sure you try and keep your heart rate down, keep relaxed as you can, even though you're on a pad or on a wheel or whatever. I mean, a wheel obviously more so, but even if you are on a pad, if you get tight, your thumb stiffens up. It can get very tricky to keep the car where you want it, and more so on a pad as well, as there's less wiggle room, if you like. With a wheel, you've got a whole, you could turn the thing 360 degrees if you really wanted to, but typically you only go for about 180. So, yeah, it can be very tricky sometimes. I know a couple of these guys are on a wheel, and a couple of them will be on a pad. So it's good racing all the way through though, and that's what we do like to see, and that's what's important here. But here we go, 4 lights are on, there's the 5th, and away they go for the start of the French Grand Prix, 27 laps, and they're now heading their way down towards T1. Weaving in the back there is Al in the Aston Martin, trying to find some space of where to go. Misello makes a fantastic start, he's already up into P3 as Bright has left the session. So, can we get him back in? Do you know what will be nice? We'll try and get him back in if we can. Oh God, no, I've messed it up already. I don't think I'm going to be able to. Do you know what? I'm sure we'll get him in a moment. I'm sure he'll be able to join back regardless. He's still in P3, and that's what matters for him at the moment. As a good start from Dom there, he's also gained a couple of positions up on that first lap, as it looks as though we've got a big battle here between 4 cars. Are they potentially going to go 4 wide into this little Nord chicane? They're going to try and go 3 wide. There goes the Haas around the outside of them all and up the inside, and there's a lovely little switchback from Boosted RB in the AlphaTauri. That was a fantastic switchback there. He's now made his way up into P8. I say that, he's P9. Now he's P8. Oh my God, it's chopping and changing. They're almost 3 wide once again, down into T10, and now into the fabled turn 11. They're still going at it, really fighting for all the space on the track that is available to them. Boosted coming out on top though there in P8. Good racing from everybody as well. That is fantastic. As they run a little bit wide there, Ollie and the Haas especially running wide. I'm not sure why he ran wide. He wasn't side by side of anybody, but he did nonetheless. As Macca's now come into the pits. Macca into the pits, Ollie into the pits. We've had a few people come into the pits as Nolan runs out very wide there at the end of that. But I think it's now beginning to settle down just a little bit, just in time as well. We ride on board here with Wheat up into P8. He's going to be coming under threat from the guy behind. That's Owl in the Aston Martin. As we make our way through Hotel, as Wheat now already, there we are, first lap 2, not even through lap 2, we've just begun lap 2, and already penalties have started rolling in. And Owl's lining up this move down towards the Nord chicane. Has he got the straight line speed to do so is the question. We ride on board here with him, and it looks as though he hasn't. He's struggling to keep up with the guy ahead, but I think he's got it more hooked up in the corner. So I wonder, has Owl gone for a slightly more downforce setup to get those corners really nailed and just sort of suffer a little bit on the straights? Yeah, look, once again, although I say that as the light now is already flashing on the back of Wheat's car, so I wonder, has he been abusing the ERS? This is where I would love to go to my aide, Ted Kravitz, but I don't have a Ted Kravitz. God, wouldn't it be magical if I had a Ted Kravitz? I'd love it. We're still on board here with Wheat all over the back of this Williams now, and he's not far behind the guys ahead, as it looks as though Bright has now fallen down to P6, unfortunately for him. I know what, we'll do it. Hang on. I need to get him back in. This is not fair if he can't get back in. Where is he? Bright. I can't even see him on the... Oh, do you know what? I might not be able to. He might not be playing on Xbox. I don't think I can help him right now. Apologies for that. We ride back on board though with Al. He's all over the rear of this Williams, who its help is all over the rear of the AlphaTauri up ahead, and they're following Purple Haze and the other Williams, as Bright further and further dropping down the order. The two Red Bulls out front, and they've just swapped places around as well. DRS activated now as it is lap 3. And Dom has made his way up into P3. That's a great flying start from Dom there. He's really on pace this evening. As looks as though he could even challenge for the win, as Micello now is your P1 currently in this Grand Prix, just taking it away from his teammate Kazura. As Boosted RB has now just got the move done on Purple Haze with the aid of DRS, as Al follows through as well. And he's potentially looking to get the move done on Purple Haze in a hurry so that he can follow Boosted. I think Boosted's got quite good pace this evening. It looks as though he's currently up into P5, as there's a penalty for Ollie now down the bottom of the field. P13, P14, Maka and Ollie. And Ollie picking up his first penalty of the evening. Has Bright managed to join us back? Unfortunately, he has not. So he will now drop down to the bottom of the field as we ride on board here with P1, 2, 3 and 4 all separated within a couple of tenths of each other. As this is now getting very interesting, as Wheat has now gone back past Al and taken P7. This is absolutely some fantastic racing up and down the grid. I don't know where to go or who to watch. This is all so entertaining. The two Williams are on track together. That's what I do want to know now. Who's on what tyre? Here we are. Al Wheat decided to opt for the medium tyre. Put Bright on the soft. And I wonder if that was strategic in doing so, as now the rest of them, apart from Ollie, who's also pitted, but they are all on the hard compound of tyre. And I wonder how long they can make that last, as there goes Wheat up the outside, definitely making that fresher rubber work for him. Goes around his teammate, but then just dips off the track as Ollie has retired. He's in pit lane, and it looks as though he has given up the ghost this evening. That's a shame. First time out, sprint weekend was looking pretty good for him. And it's a shame he's given up the car, as there goes Lorne up the inside of Wheat. What has happened to Wheat here? Has he lost any end plate? Has he lost an end plate? He has. He's lost an end plate. He's going to be slowly on track. Nolan now waiting. Nolan hitting, in fact, not waiting at all. He wants him to get on with it, but I don't know if he realises that he has got damage. So that will be an inevitable overtake, no doubt about it, as Owl is struggling to get past Purple Haze here in the other Williams, as Wheat makes his way into the pits as expected. As looks as though Micello and Kazura have swapped around the lead a couple of times in that previous lap, and they're doing it again now. What is going on up the front here with the two Red Bulls? And don't count out the Haas or the Alpine there. They are absolutely all within a few tenths of one another. I'll ride on board here. Do you know what? We'll ride on board with Dom. We'll get about the middle ground here and see what is happening out of the tricky right-hander of turn 5 and 6 and onto the Mastral Straight. Dom dipping out of the slipstream, which is interesting. I wonder if he's trying to see the racing line, whether he has it on or not, I'm not sure. But that's another move for the lead there. Micello reclaiming P1 now, as it looks as though, is Dom going to make a move now on Kazura? He definitely looks as though he might. There he is. He's pulled out from the strip. He's going to go up the inside. Turn 10. Flat out right-hander. As Micello has now come back into the clutches potentially. Is Dom going to go up the inside of both of them? Both the Red Bulls. One corner. Can he do it? Not quite. And Kizura has managed to hold it around the outside as well. That is fantastic wheel-to-wheel racing here, as he now has the inside line. They're still side by side. They're just about giving each other enough space. Just need that car whipped, as I think Dom has managed to pull the move off. I think it was a little bit of a wheel-to-wheel contact that caused Kazura to move to the side. I don't think there was anything in that. I think that was just unfortunate racing incident, but they're both facing forward, so they're both going to be fine. They're both still fighting for this win today, and that's all that matters. Wow, what a move there from Dom, though. And brilliant side-to-side action as well. That was fantastic to watch and see unfold, as it looks as though the group a bit further back, they're now sort of settling down a little bit. I think the order has sort of found itself, if you like, in terms of pace, and I wonder if it's smarter now just for Al to just follow Boosted RB, just sit within the DRS, and he seems to be catching this group pack as well, and who knows, we could have a 8-car, 9-car, 10-car battle for the lead come the end of this race. That would be very interesting, to say the least, if that was to happen. But Dom looking incredibly racy this evening. Started down in P14 for the sprint, made his way halfway up the grid to P7 as Pikachu now goes up the inside of the Red Bull Kazura. And he's made the move stick. He now moves his way up into P3 as Kazura dropped down to P4 after winning the sprint and leading us out for the first few laps of this Grand Prix. He's been passed by his teammates, he's been passed by the Haas, he's been passed by the Alpine, and he now finds himself in P4. As you see Ollie there leaving the session. So it's a real shame, to be honest. It was looking to be pretty good for his debut, and it's ended in an unfortunate circumstances for him, for that Haas driver. I think he is a reserve, but nonetheless it's not the debut he wanted. As the top four now still separated, but less than a second. It's less than a second from Micello down to his teammate, really. It's just opened up a tiny bit there, but it's still within that gap. And the Boosted RB and this train behind are now slowly closing in, and they're almost within a second themselves of this front pack and front train. And I wonder, can they get onto the back of them? We ride on board now with Pikachu. DRS is going to be open from here, and has he got the pace? As it looks as though Dom's going to go for the move. Dom up the inside. Oh, they make a little bit of contact. I think that's just about okay, but I think Dom's going to have to watch it moving forward. In my mind, if there was a live steward, that's a warning. That is look, you got it. Elbows will fully out, but watch it. And Micello not done with this yet. He looks as though he's going to try and get this P1 back straight away as quick as he can. I tell you, this is a fantastic view to ride on board with, as I've just seen Boosted now has just dipped into that 1 second window, and Al has actually just dipped out of the 1 second window. That is not what he needs. I don't know if he's got the straight line speed, as Wheat picks up another 3 second time penalty for track limit violations. That is not helping his evening. Gap now just opening up a little bit as Boosted has absolutely joined this front train, and Owl unfortunately has dropped off from Boosted as Wheat has retired. I think that's going to cause a safety car actually. What has happened to him? It looks as though he's come off the circuit entirely, but this will neutralise the field. And now, as I wonder, this is going to be interesting, pit strategies. What are people going to do? So we've lost 2 cars now. We've lost Ollie 77 in the Haas. I think he just sort of had enough, and that was his day done. And it looks as though we've lost Wheat. It looks as though he crashed out, which was unfortunate for him, as Macca's in the pits. But this will neutralise the race. So 12 cars remain, and they're all going to get bunched up behind this safety car. And the interesting thing now is, I wonder what tyres people are potentially going to go on to. Let's have a look. What are people on currently? Where are we at? We've got the majority of the field on hards. Actually, Owl, and I would say Bright, Owl potentially could be the one benefiting from all of this here. He's definitely within that sort of pit window range, as it were. He would make them run a long way on that hard tyre, but he could do it. And it would mean he can stop under the safety car, whereas all of these guys on that hard tyre, they're going to have to compromise their race strategy should they want to pit under safety car. as it looks as though I think a couple of them could be. Yeah, there you are. Dom is in, Micello is in. Dom with a 5-second penalty, speeding in the pit lane. And I don't want to say it, and I don't want to sound negative, but that doesn't surprise me, if I'm being completely honest with you. He's doing a phenomenal job out in front. He's taken the lead. Well, he had the lead, and he's been absolutely running pace and doing bits. As the safety car now picks up the leader, who is now Pikachu in the Alpine. Kazura in the other Red Bull will be currently inheriting P2. Purple Haze once again surprising everybody, starting way down the field, has now found his way up into P3 at this safety car interval. Granted, I think a lot of the guys behind have been pitting in. Yeah, they've all been pitting in for fresh mediums, or in Al's case, fresh set of hards. And keep an eye on Al. That could be a stroke of genius, starting on that medium compound and switching onto the hards. As a safety car, I think has come out at the exact moment he would want it to. Would say what would be interesting to see is if these guys at the front still on the old hard, if they decide to then pit this time by, but they're going to be dropping way down to the back of the order if they decide to do so. Probably not advised at this point. I think you kind of have to run your race. As I say though, I think Al has stroke of fortune come his way, as it looks as though after the sprint it doesn't look as though he was going to be getting much from this weekend, or this Monday evening I should say, but the pit strategy gods have played him an ace, and he's absolutely calling blackjack right now. As, yeah, actually, there goes Purple Haze, pulling off into the pits. Wonder what he's going to do here with this. As he actually inherits the lead for a short time there. Actually, do you know what, I'm curious. What tyre is he going on to? Currently on the hard. What's he going to switch onto? Looks as though they've got some mediums there ready and waiting for him. Yep, there they go. Phasing onto the rim of the car. He now makes his way out back onto the racing track. Will be dropped to the back, but he will have the freshest set of tyres than everybody around him. As I would imagine this time by when we finish this lap, we'll get going under green racing conditions. Here's your current rundown, as you can see it on your screen in front of you. We've got Pikachu currently sitting P1, Kyuza P2, and those two have yet to stop. They have still gone from the start to where they are now. Dom is the first of your stoppers. He's on the medium compound tyre along with Micello and Boosted. They're 4 and 5 as well. P6 is Al, and he's the only one currently on a fresh set of hard compound tyres, and they will absolutely get to the end, no doubt, very easily. So that could be a very lucky break for him there from this day here. He's currently sitting P6. Busak on the medium is P7, Lawn P8, Nolan P9, and Bright unfortunately has not been able to make his way back into the lobby, and he sits in P10. And then we've got Maka and Hayes bringing up the rear 11 and 12. But safety car in this lap. So Pikachu will now be effectively the pace car. He'll, back the pack up and get ready to go green once again. You can't overtake before the safety car line, and you can't go before the safety car has come into the pits either. So he's going to back it off even more, and the typical place you tend to go around this circuit is right out of the final corner, so that no one can really get the slipstream effect as much. But be interesting to see how this pans out. I think what we'll do here, we'll ride on board with Dom, as it looks as though he's gone already just before they even got. No, they quite haven't gone. They haven't gone at all. Oh, this could become chaos now. This reminds me of the Mugello Grand Prix for 2020, and there they go. Just before we got to the start-finish line, Misello therefore makes up a place over Dom before they even get going. As the round goes, Misello, no it's not, it's Mikuza. Misello's gone round as well. And just like that, both the Red Bulls have gone from P2 and 3, and now P11 and 12. Right down to the back of the grid. I don't quite know what happened or went on there. It looked as though they tried to sort of squeeze it around the outside or whatnot. I'm not 100% sure, as Dom has now made his way already back into P1, really putting use to those fresh set of tyres, as Boosted is now all over the rear of Sonic Pikachu as well. As it looks as though Pikachu is trying to go back around the outside of Dom, now into the Nord chicane, round the outside, but he'll have the inside line for the second part. As they make contact, round goes Pikachu. And Dom there, just holding out to P1, and I wonder, did he leave him enough space? I think Pikachu definitely had enough room alongside, and I wonder, was there space left for him at the inside of the Nord chicane? Anyway, regardless of what happens, that will be decided after this Grand Prix now. It will be given to the stewards and they can make their informed decisions. However, Boosted RB found his way into P2, and Hours managed to find his way into P3 on the hard compound tyre. Well done to Dom, he's managed to find his way up into P1. Busak, the unlikely man, are currently sitting P4, Nolan P5, and Lorne is now coming under threat from the Williams of Hayes and his teammate of Macca, as they make their way through turn 1. Macca round the outside of turn 2, round Hayes. That was a fantastic move there. That was brilliant to watch. So, through Hotel, through the tricky corners of 5 and 6, and then through the kink of 7. Should be flat out if you get the line right, and onto the Mastral straight. DRS not activated for another lap, so it's all about racecraft, talent and skill now for these opening 2 after the safety car has come in. And we'll get to see who has got the most skill under these sort of conditions. Nolan looking to make a pass up on the Alfa Romeo of Busak. He's within a 10th. Could he get the move done? Down into T11. That's where the true braking zone is. What a fantastic view that is. He tries to sweep it round the outside. Just dips away under the overlay there. He didn't quite have the move or the pace to get the move done. But that was some fantastic racing as well, as he's now going to become under threat from the Mercedes behind. They are looking to be on a charge, aren't they? Hopefully going to make some moves themselves. That's what they are absolutely going to want to do, as it looks as though the 2 out front have built a bit of a gap back up to the Aston Martin of Al there behind. His fastest lap just being set by Boosted RB as well. As Nolan now potentially looking, as DRS is now enabled. Nolan looking to try and get a move done into the first chicane potentially. He's all over the gearbox of that Alfa Romeo, not giving him an inch of breathing room, as Kazura now has got a 3-second time penalty. And that is not a day for the Alpine or those Red Bulls down at the back of the grid, as Nolan now has got the move done on Busak. He moves up into P4 with the assist of DRS. Is Busak going to lose another position from the Mercedes behind? Not quite this time around. I think the Mercedes just a little bit too far back, as Boosted RB has actually got the move done on Dom for the lead. Through turn 10, is Dom going to potentially look to go up the inside? We ride on board. He's going to take that tight line. He likes this move. He's done it a couple of times already this evening. It does mean you lose a little bit of speed as you have to take the tighter line, but it does mean you can get sort of a block pass done, you know, put your car in the way and work it out from there. But unfortunately this time around, Boosted RB held it nicely around the outside, making our way through the penultimate corner, now into the final corner. DRS will be activated for the short start finish straight, but Boosted RB looks as though he got quite a good exit there out of the final corner. DRS assistance though now, is it enough for Dom? Not quite, he's going to have to wait this time around. They make their way through the first chicane, now they're going to head. That was a bit of a weird moment there. It looked as though he was weaving on the straight. That's a bit odd, but I think that could just be the game itself. I wouldn't put it down to him weaving around like that. That'd be a rather odd thing to do. But now, this is the best chance to overtake down towards the Nord chicane on the Mastral Straight. You can have DRS popping into activation now, so that gives that little flap right there open. Gives you a big boost of speed as you make your way up towards the opponent in front of you as he backs out of it last second. I thought maybe he might have gone for the lunge, but backs out of it last second. Boosted RB currently then still holding on to P1, sorry. So I'm going to have to settle for P2, but that has also now brought back into play Al. He's within the DRS activation zone of the car behind, as Lorna's got past Boussac, but Boussac potentially going to go round the outside of T11. Lorne's going to have the preferred inside line, but he has got that light flashing at the back, as now Hayes is going to try and capitalise on all of this, of what's going on. He's getting all over the rear of Boussac, all over his gearbox. He's got his nose right in there. Right on board with the Williams, I think, get a better view of what's going on. He's also potentially trying to defend from Maka, the car behind, the other Mercedes there. As DRS now comes into play, all cars will have it down here though, as they are all within a second of their car ahead. So that kind of neutralises it in a way. It means you won't be able to get that boost of speed on your competitor in front of you, because he has it too. That's the only thing with DRS, you tend to get these little trains that form, is the one downside to it. But it is necessary, unfortunately, for the current generation of cars. And hopefully 2026 can potentially change that and we go back to a more pure form of racing. That would be absolutely fantastic to see if it could happen. But Purple Haze now. Purple Haze? Haze 44 we'll call him. Haze. DRS open. Gonna get the move done before we even get to the Nord chicane. Pulls back to take the racing line, the faster line through the corner, and he has every right to do so, as he has got the move done, and he's definitely past the guy behind. So he makes his way up now into P6. That's good news for him. Bad news for Boussac, who's now dropped into P7 and could potentially become under threat from Maka behind in the Mercedes, as he almost took a sniff up the inside of that. The move I don't think was really on at all, but he almost had a look at it. But I think what we'll do now is we'll jump back on board here with your leaders. Boosted RB still leading from Dom in that Haas, and Al on the hard compounder tyre, and I would say, in my personal opinion, he's the preferred race winner at this point in time based on the strategy that is going on. I think all he really has to do is just, if he wants to sit behind these two and let them have at it, he absolutely can. He doesn't need to run away with it. As I believe the once fabled Professor Alain Prost said, you want to win the race as slow as possible. That's the best way to do it. And speaking of Alain Prost, he's the man that's won the French Grand Prix the most. Oh, he's not. That's a complete and utter lie. It's Michael Schumacher who's won it the most. Nigel Mansell, though, and Alain Prost have won. Paul Ricard the most, joint, of course, with Lewis Hamilton as well. But we ride on board here with Al, as Nolan potentially having a sniff and having a little look, potentially, at going for P3. But regardless of that, as I think Dom's managed to go around the outside of Boosted there. We just caught the glimpse of it. And apologies I didn't catch it fully, but Dom now made his way back into P1. He's got the move done on Boosted, and it looked as though it was a very clean one at that this time around, which is good. Not to say his other ones haven't been clean. It's very difficult to judge based on angles, but there was a bit of contact from him and Pikachu, which caused Pikachu to go round earlier in this Grand Prix and gave Dom the lead. But Boosted RB potentially now going to be under threat from Al behind. The thing with Al, though, we just saw there, the light is flashing on the back of his car. That indicates to Nolan that potentially now, as it looks as though raindrops are falling. Is that rain? Is that rain? This could change everything. Forget what I said. Al is no longer on the best strategy. He would have been, should it have stayed dry, but it looks as though rain has started to fall. And That is going to change everything now. Who's going to get onto that intermediate tyre? I'd imagine it's going to get wet enough to go on the intermediate tyre. Who's going to get on it at the right time? Could we still see another safety car then? As Boosted RB round the outside of Dom there into the Nord chicane. Great move from him. He then had the inside line for the second part of that chicane, and he got that done very nicely indeed. But don't count Dom out just yet. He's sitting within the gearbox of that AlphaTauri in front. Potentially he could be looking to make a move straight away and take the lead back. He hasn't got it quite done this time around, as Nolan looking incredibly racy on that Aston Martin behind. Nolan being actually on the softer of the compound tyres. So, has he got the better grip as they now get into slightly wetter and wetter conditions? This is definitely going to add some spice into this weekend and into this Grand Prix. Deep on the brakes there, but making it work very nicely. Now he's going to have the DRS. Is he going to have the pace to get past that Aston Martin down towards T1? Doesn't look he's going to have it done this time by. The Aston Martin will also have that DRS. So what Nolan really needs is for Al to drop out the DRS at the front too, so that he can get that move done a lot easier, as then Al wouldn't have the DRS to help him defend. As you can see now, the rain coming down. Yeah, look at that. It's definitely, it's not going to stay dry for long, that's for sure, isn't it? Now, out of turn 7 and onto the Mastral straight. Nolan not gaining really any time on the guy in front, as I said, as Dom looks to make a move at the inside. That's cheeky once again from him, as there's contact between him and Boosted round. And I wonder, sorry for the quick flickering there, I wonder, did Dom really give him enough room? He had the overtake, but I don't know if he had the sort of the right to move over as much as he did. Boosted wasn't just going to disappear. And this could absolutely lead to more investigations after the race, as Dom being very feisty with his overtaking this evening. And he's got every right to be, you know, aggressive in it, but he has got to abide by the rules still, and that is you have to leave a car's width. If they're alongside you, or, you know, you're fighting for it, you know, you have to leave a car's width. As he now just picks up a 3-second time penalty as he pours into the pits. And speaking of pouring, the rain is still coming down, as Nolan has taken the lead of this Grand Prix. Maka looking to be the first onto the intermediate tyres. There's a few others coming into the pits as well. So actually, no, he's not the only one. Looks as though Dom came into the pits. Boosted also came into the pits. Busak and Kazura, I will not get it. I might eventually, but not now. As they have all made their way into the pits. And that could be this could be interesting now. Are these guys here on the dry compound tyre, are they going to lose too much time as they've opted to stay out for, I would imagine, an extra lap? The rain really hammering it down now. And it looks as though they're beginning to struggle for a bit of grip out there. The question is the intermediate runners, I'm just looking at the gap now between Dom and, I can't really give it to Bright because Bright's not in this race. I guess the way you can judge it is he gaining to the AI who is on the dry compound tyre, and it looks as though he is. Everyone now in the bottom 7 opted to go onto the intermediate tyres, thinking it must be the quicker of the compounds, as we've still got Lawn going round again, still sticking onto the dry compounded tyre, as Al and Hayes has made their way into the pits, and Nolan and Lawn thinking, actually, I'm quite happy on the dry. Everyone else has made their way into the pits though now, except Bright. He has also stayed out, but it is the AI that is controlling him. But does that mean the AI has got some extra information that that some of these guys don't know about, as Busak has now retired from this Grand Prix? Just picked up a penalty as well as he entered the pit there, but it looks as though he's retiring from the Grand Prix. Again, unbeknownst as to why, as like I say, if there's less than 15 or if there's 15 drivers, everyone gets a point. I don't know why they leave. I don't know why they do it. Who knows what's going to happen? The race, anything can happen. There's 7 laps to go. Anything can happen, and it normally does. That's what I do not understand. The gap that I'm interested in now is the gap to Owl and Lawn, who is currently P2 and P3. Is that gap dropping down? And is it dropping down significantly enough for those dry compound tyres runners to make that pit stop? I think it absolutely is. Now the time is to come in. I think actually the last lap by was the optimal lap to do it on. And that does mean that Owl, Hayes and Pikachu, I believe it was as well, pitted that last time by. I think they made the optimal stop potentially here. As it looks as though there goes Lawn, there goes Nolan. And now the question is, we ride on board here with Owl, making his way through Village, through the penultimate corner of Lac, and then into the final corner. The gap was just under 20 seconds. It was 19 seconds something. And are they going to get out? The guys ahead, they're now exiting pit lane, but Al's going to have the on-track speed as he gets past both of them before they even exit pit lane. But Nolan's now sitting P2 comfortably. There's Hayes in P3. Lawn has made his way up into P4. I think they actually may have got it right. They actually stayed out the extra couple of laps on the dry tyre, and actually it looks as though it's played out quite nicely for them. Al now being not under third, but being chased by Lawn. Apologies, Nolan in that McLaren. The gap currently sitting at 2 seconds, but I wonder now, are these sorts of conditions going to play into Al's hands? It looks as though he had a bit more of a higher downforce setup than some of the other drivers out there, as Nolan could become under threat from Hayes behind. DRS now finally disabled, as all of the drivers have come onto the intermediate tyre. Lap 21 now of 27, 6 to go in this French Grand Prix, and the gap from the leader to second place currently just under 2 seconds, but P2's not safe by any means. It's currently under threat from Hayes in that Williams, and he's a couple of attempts behind Nolan in that McLaren. And it's dizzying heights for that McLaren, I think. He's on an absolute flyer this weekend. He's did well. He did okay actually in the sprint, but for the race he's absolutely been flying along, and fair play to him as well. He's managed to bring that gap down immensely in that final sector. 1.5 now the gap between him and Al up in P1, and it looks as though Nolan has got the absolute he's got the car set up perfectly for it. He's comfortable in that McLaren. He's got it all working nicely. He's got it into optimal temperature range, I'd imagine, for the tyres. He's making it work well for him as well. That's an absolutely fantastic drive from Nolan there in the McLaren so far. And there's another sensational drive really for Hayes here in the Williams. And don't count out Lawn in that Mercedes. The top sort of four, really. Even Al's having a good drive here when you think about it, considering where they started down towards the bottom end of the grid, and they've been cutting their way through. They've had a bit of fortunate luck, Al, with the safety car. I was thinking pit stops, but that was me anticipating a dry race. It's now turned to wet, and now it really does come down to skill, confidence, and this is where this kind of weather really separates the men from the boys. The light now no longer indicating the ERS low or anything like that. It's purely on now so that people can see what is going on, as it looks as though we've had a crash in Sector 2. Who's that? It's one of the Red Bulls. Who's that who has spun around? It's Kazura. Kazura's made a mistake into the Nord chicane, and he's definitely lost out a lot of time there to the guys in head. But I mean, for Red Bull, it really has been a terrible weekend after what happened after that safety car restart, as Nolan now closes the gap to within half a second. He's pulling away from the guy behind. He's gaining on Al, the car ahead. This is an absolute sensational drive in the wet weather here for Nolan. Come on, Nolan, I'm rooting for him. He's now within a couple of attempts. Is he going to be able to take the lead of this Grand Prix? And this would be an absolutely sensational drive for the man in that orange McLaren. And you can imagine the team back in Woking, should this be real life, would be absolutely ecstatic. They'd be going mental. They'd be flying off the walls if he could bring it home in P1. It looks as though he's going to give it a jolly good try. He's going for the move now down the Mastral Straight. He's got the inside line. He's got the move done already. He pulls back onto the racing line. Al looking to weave left and right a little bit just to see if he could potentially mount an attack back. It doesn't look as though he's going to, and Al has picked up... Al has lost P1 and Nolan has picked up P1. And he's already pulling away. 6 tenths is the gap, as it looks as though Lorne is going to try and go past Hayes in that Williams through turn 10. I'm not quite sure if it's flat out now. You've got to be very brave if you want to give it a go in flat out. I don't think it is any longer. But Misello, unfortunately, now picking up a time penalty at the back of the field. Not that it would change his finishing position, but trying to keep it within track limits, appearing to be quite difficult for a few of the drivers out there. He's not the only one. That's the only thing that will comfort him this evening, that he was not the only one to be screwed over during this race at the moment, as Nolan has pulled out almost 1.5 seconds to Owl in P2. Nolan is on an absolute flyer, and the changing in conditions has really come alive for that McLaren driver and that car. As Lorne now looking to go at the inside, he's locked the rear axle. You can tell the car just got a little bit squirrely into the corner. He wants to sort out the brake bias, I think, a little bit on that before he tries to mount another overtake. But he's looking racy, he's looking feisty, and he's looking to get past Hayes in that Williams. Through the turns, he's getting a little bit squirrely now. He's really trying to stamp on the power as early as he can. And if anything, it's costing him a little bit of time if he does that. This is the race for the final spot on the podium as it stands. 3 laps to go after the end of this one. So it's still all to play for. The race is not over yet, and in these types of conditions, anything can happen. Lorne all over the back of Hayes in the Williams. Lorne looking as though he's got the car set up a little bit nicer for the wet weather. Yeah, he's taking he's taking all the track, I would say, and then some, but he's not giving it then some. He's just using every last inch of circuit, and he's using it to a perfect effect. He's all over the gearbox now of this Williams. He's desperate to try and make a pass here. Is he going to potentially have a lunge into the final corner? Looked as though he was thinking about it, but I think he thought better of it. You know, next time by. He's probably thinking long game here, long game strategy. And I wonder, I think Hayes has got quite a good car in a straight line, and I think that's what's struggling. I think that's what's causing it to be a struggle for Lorne to get by. He's really got to make sure he gets the corners now. That's a mistake there from Hayes. This is the opportunity now. Goes up the inside, down towards the hotel corner of turn 4. Has the inside line and absolutely makes the move stick as well, as that is Kazura pulled into the pit lane and retiring as well, putting the car into the garage, and that's his race over for him in the Red Bull. And once again, I think I'm going to put this in the chat when the race is finished, or if anybody here is currently in the chat and watching this and they're in this league. Stop retiring when there's less than 15 cars. Yes, it might be boring. Yes, it's not the most fun going around the track by yourself. But you're going to get points. And for your championship, potential championship hopes and dreams of fight or whatever, points are everything, even if it's 1. And the top 15 get points. It makes no sense you guys retire when there's less than 15 drivers. It makes no sense. I know you might think, what's the point? But that 1 point that you've just given up there by retiring the car now means, you know, you've lost out, I don't know, P4 or P5 or P3. Makes no sense. It seems silly to me. But they're entitled to do what they want, these drivers. It's just my 2-penny bit. My 2 pence piece. I'm just putting it in the ring. I'm putting it in the hat. As Nolan in that McLaren has managed to pull out 5 seconds on Owl, and Owl now is actually under a little bit of pressure potentially from the car behind of Lorne, as it looks as though he's moving quite quickly forward in that Mercedes. But we are currently riding on board here with Boosted RB in the AlphaTauri. He's chasing down Pikachu, and his gap is just under a second as well, as he makes a little bit of a mistake, a little bit of a wobble there. And that's now dropped him what would have been DRS if it was dry. Unfortunately, it is wet. But I think the wet conditions have absolutely shaken this race up, and they've shaken it up in a magnificent way as well. As I think this could be the finish. I think this could be where Boosted RB finishes for this evening. It doesn't look as though he's gaining any time on the guys ahead. We ride back on board then with Lorne in that Mercedes. He's got 1.5 laps to do this now. And he's got 8 tenths to gain and catch, as he actually just lost a load of time there. He made it very poor exit of that Nord chicane, as he now potentially could become under threat from Hayes in the car behind. Couple of attempts now, the gap. Is he potentially going to look up the inside of T11? Not quite. I think it's a little bit now too risky in the wet conditions. 6.2, 6.3. The gap is increasing all the time for Nolan in that McLaren out front. And Owl can do nothing but watch as the gap increases between him and P1. But what he can do is make sure that the guys behind do not catch him and do not get a chance to overtake. We now come on to the final lap of this Grand Prix. And we ride on board with Lorne currently trying to defend from the Williams of Hayes behind. And potentially trying to look forward and see if they can keep the pressure on Owl and see if any mistakes are made. As I'm going to just double check the penalties we have here. Dom with a 3-second time penalty and Marcelo with a 3-second time penalty. And your biggest winner, I don't think it's going to be a shock, is definitely going to be Nolan in that McLaren. Owl up 8 places, Lorne up 8 places as well. So couple of big winners here this evening in this French Grand Prix, as I think Lorne, all he has to do is keep it on the track, and he's got it sewn up. It's a magnificent drive from him once again. But the race is not over for these three. This is the battle for P2 and the podium positions, the last 2 podium positions, as I think P1 is out of the question. Commentator's curse that could be. I really hope it's not. But final few corners now for these guys. I'm going to flick it back to the magnificent McLaren. And what a drive it has been for Nolan here this evening for the French Grand Prix. 27 grueling laps. We've had a safety car in there. And now the heavens have opened for this final stint, as he makes his way through the penultimate corner of Lac and into the final corner. 1 left, 1 to go for Nolan in the McLaren. Keeps it neat and tidy, makes his way up to the line, and it's been an apoplectic Grand Prix for Nolan. He gets his race win here. Division 3, GRL, he's going to be ecstatic. I'm ecstatic for him. You can hear it. I'm all smiling. And the positions from behind, Al's going to take P2, Lorne will take P3, Hayes is P4. A magnificent drive from all of them. Dom now crossing the line. I think he's going to lose a couple of positions. Yeah, he drops down to P7, unfortunately. That will promote Maka and Pikachu, P5, P6. Boosted RB crosses the line now, P8. Bright, unfortunately, was dropped from the first lap. He is not here and will not be classified or counted. So Micello will pick up the final position of the night. He will take P9. And fair play. Well done, Micello, for sticking it out. Not all of them have. So I commend you for sticking it out and seeing it to the checkered flag, even though you really didn't have much of a race left after the safety car restart. But well done. P9 he'll take. What a fantastic Grand Prix that was. And I will commend once again Nolan in that McLaren. What a fantastic drive, my friend. That, you deserve driver of the day from the game. You get my driver of the day as well. That was amazing. That was a thrill to watch. And managed to pull out a commanding gap come the end of this Grand Prix. So well done to him. He'll take the top step. And I can imagine he's sat at home now, biggest grin on his face. That'll keep him happy for days as well. Well done. What a drive. Thoroughly deserved as well. He's not had the best luck of form. And, you know, he's not been at the top much this this season. But without a doubt, he took it today. And he took it comfortably as well. There you are. There was your rundown then for this Grand Prix. Nolan takes P1. I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for him. Al, well done. You managed to claw your way back into P2 after a dismal sprint race, but well done. Points are points. Brilliant P2 from you there. Hayes will take P4 in the standings. That is very confusing. I want the race results. That's the weekend results for you guys there. I want race results. Here we are. Nolan, Al, Lorne P3, Hayes P4, Macca climbing up to P5 in the end of that. Well done to him in the Mercedes outfit. Sonic Pikachu back up to P6 after what happened during the race. Dom dropped to P7 and I think he could drop some more as well. Boosted RB P8 and then Marcelo rounds it out for P9. That will get swapped around as Bright unable to really participate for the Grand Prix there. But that is all from me this evening. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you have enjoyed it. And we'll be coming here next time for round 14. I'm unsure of the track just yet, but it'll be a thrilling one nonetheless, as I'm sure you'll find, like it was tonight. But that's all from me now. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you next Monday night. My name is Ashley. I've been your host once again for Division 3 here at the GRL. Goodbye.